My name's Johnny Pitts, and although I grew up in the UK, I've always been inspired by my father's African-American heritage and the civil rights history in the American South. So I'm on a journey along the civil rights trail to experience firsthand the soul of the South. Today, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, starting my journey in the Music City at the National Museum of African American Music. Katie Range Briggs explains the mission behind the museum, and we discuss the history of how music has always been a vehicle of change and expression for African Americans.
As you walk through the galleries in the museum, it truly is a journey in time where you are getting to see how the African American creates their instrument and creates their music.
A lot of the music here is people creating despite the worst odds. No matter what, people still find a way to tell a story.
There is a focus on oppression, and that's important to tell that narrative. But the transformational agency that occurs with music and music production is something I think we celebrate when we talk about the civil rights movement and music here. You move that visceral experience to that pounding rhythm, and you get the name that is so reflective, soul, my spirit. This is all being poured out, this declaration of voice. And you'll hear us, and collectively, we'll respond to our social needs.
Next, I head over to the Nashville Public Library for a tour of the Civil Rights Room with Programme Specialist Elliot Robinson, an inspiring space dedicated to showcasing Nashville's leading role of non-violent protest during the Civil Rights era.
Is there anything about Nashville's role in the civil rights movement that you really want people to know?
Well, I think the most important thing is the impact that Nashville had on other places in the civil rights movement. Freedom Summer in Mississippi and the March on Washington. When you look at those things closely, you'll find people that were trained in this movement as students who were centrally involved in all of those other places. For example, the lunch counter sit-in, I can't imagine what it would be like if they hadn't done what they did. And they knew that they weren't doing it for themselves, but they were doing it for generations to come in order to make America live up to her own stated ideals. When you look at things between then and now, in a lot of ways, then is now. We think it's important to keep these stories alive and to give, students something that they might not get in schools.
Something that I'm getting is to just be grateful and not take for granted all of the work that has gone in to allowing me to walk around these streets the way I do.
Most definitely.
Inspired to learn more, I met with Andrea Blackman, the original curator of the Civil Rights Room, over 20 years ago.
Looking at some of the archival photographs, I get the sense that Nashville is a city that is always changing. How much has it changed since the civil rights era?
20 plus years ago, we were thinking Nashville was just black, white, and maybe some country music. But now we're looking at 32 other countries that have made Nashville their home, and restaurants that have been created by these local communities, these new people, new Nashvillians.
Nashville, it seems to me that it's a community that gathers around food.
During the 50s and the 60s, Southern food and cuisine was a huge part of politicians and young activists coming together. They believed that if we could break bread together, then we could change the world together. And I think the premise of how food played in Nashville's history continues today.
Looking to meet some of these new Nashvillians, Andrea pointed me in the direction of one of her favourite lunch spots in town, Caribbean restaurant Island Vibes.
The man's out the street stomach.
Yeah.
You get good food, it enhances you.
How long have you guys been here then?
2014, but we try to make it feel like back home, the island vibes. We get like the natural ingredients and we blend them together so that we can get that unique flavor.
As you're talking, I can feel myself salivating. If there's one dish that you would recommend, what would it be?
Well, we got to start from the top of the menu, which is the jerk chicken.
Can we have some jerk chickens? Okay, okay. Oh, thank you. That is really good, man. That is so good.
With its strong historical roots and an ever-evolving cultural landscape, Nashville feels like a dynamic place that is constantly changing, and I can't wait to see what's new here in the Music City next time I'm back in town.